Hello, YouTube. Welcome back. All right, my video about giving out the RV yesterday has caused quite a controversy. A lot of people are upset. Surprisingly, I was actually surprised people were upset. And some of the people who actually did contribute to me, getting the RV, maintaining it, and keeping it as long as I did to the point where I became not homeless, seemed rather concerned with my situation. And what I was reading all the comments and stuff, especially, by the people who did contribute, okay, is that I'm having flashbacks of Charles. I don't know if you guys remember the situation with Charles, okay? Charles was a viewer on the Living in a Van channel, and he spent a lot of time, personal time and money, trying to keep Little Blue running. I think he spent probably $2,000 or more out of his pocket to keep Little Blue running. Now, I didn't ask for anything, but he felt that Little Blue was my lifeline and needed to be maintained at all cost, to the point where he even traveled down to Florida from another state up north, far away actually, and came here personally to work on Little Blue and try to fix a mechanical issue. And during that visit, he ended up leaving me like $700 to cover additional fees or anything that came up. And I thank Charles for everything, and then, as I do now, even though we had a falling out. And the reason we had a falling out is similar to what's going on with the RV. Now, Charles had given me money, to get the van repaired when it had issues, and tried to tell me, and he even sent parts. Remember the PCM, ECM thing that went bad? Charles was the one who sent that. And tried to keep Little Blue running. And what had happened was, once I got the RV, okay, Little Blue became kind of a liability in the sense that I couldn't really drive two vehicles. Just kind of me trying to handle both cars. And I couldn't tow it. I don't know how to tow it. I don't want to tow it. But also at that point, I had a nicer vehicle to kind of live in, and I really didn't need to live in the van. And what I wanted to do was give away the van. There was even a viewer on here who wanted the van, on the Living in a Van channel, who wanted the van. But after thinking about the situation, I couldn't give it to her because, the van had like close to 400,000 miles on it. And we knew all the issues it had. And this person was, I think, in their 80s. Yeah, 80-year-old lady. Either late 70s or early 80s. 80 years old. Wanting to live in a van and travel across the United States. Which I don't think you could do in a van as old and, as Little Blue 2. Which... the reason it was okay for me was because I was driving around town. I didn't really travel to another state too much. I did once during the hurricane, but, and then it had problems afterwards. But the van wouldn't have been something you'd want to give a little old lady to try to travel across the country and then it breaks down. So what happened, okay? Charles contacted me and got upset that I was going to give away Little Blue. Instead of keeping it and maintaining it and keeping it running. And, I basically told him, hey, if you want me to do something specific with Blue because of all the donations and stuff that you made, you should have let me know. But if it's an issue for you right now, what I will do is give you every penny back that you ever put into Little Blue. But that's going to take time, because I don't have the money right now, which I didn't at the time. Or I could give you Little Blue itself. I'll give you the van. Now, keep in mind, I had sunk in more than $2,000, $3,000 to keep Blue running also, between the purchase price and everything else to get Blue running. But Charles felt that Little Blue was the star of living in a van, and getting rid of it was something I shouldn't do. So, yeah, he didn't tell me all that when he gave me the money and, came over to do the repairs of Blue and stuff. My intention always had been that eventually, when I didn't need Blue anymore, I would give Blue away to somebody who needed shelter, who needed, the safety of having a vehicle at least and not being on the street. So that became an issue, and Charles and I had a falling out because of that. I, told Charles, he could come pick up the van, and he said he would. He wanted the van, and then after thinking about it and looking at the situation, because it would cost him, he would have to basically fly down here or take a Uber or a taxi or something, and then get the van and then have to drive it back up and register it and everything else in his state. By the time you did all that, it probably would have cost more than like $1,000, $2,000, and then the van probably wouldn't last that long. It's not like, it wasn't in like very good mechanical. I mean, it ran and stuff, but it wasn't in like tip-top mechanical condition enough to travel. Even trying to go back up, like he'd have to drive from Florida for more than like close to 1,200 miles, 1,200 miles, just to get back to his place. And I don't think the van would have made it. So those were issues that ended up with Charles saying, just go ahead and keep the van. And then what I did was, because I didn't really need the van anymore, I ended up taking the solar panel off and gave it to another van dweller who happened to be passing through, and let him use that. And I think I might have also given him some other components, like the table, that was in the back of Blue, the little red table, and some other stuff, just to help him be okay in his van. And then the van itself, I ended up selling it to somebody for like $300, just so that they could get the title, and we could put on that they paid $300, and then I got some money out of it, and that's essentially what happened to Little Blue, and why Charles and I had a falling out, because I wouldn't do what he wanted me to do, because he had given me donations and stuff. He felt that he could tell me, whether or not I could do something. Like if I was going to donate the van or give it away or whatever, I needed to go through him. But he didn't want that anyway, so I'd have to keep the van and just keep doing what he wanted me to do. That's kind of what I feel like is happening right now with the RV. A lot of people gave without me really asking, until we did the viewers asked and did that, fundraiser or the GoFundMe or whatever that raised $800 or $1,200. But other than that, a lot of people just contributed without me really asking. I didn't really ask people for money. People just felt sorry or whatever and wanted to help. But from reading the comments, especially like by Kira and Timothy and several others who may have contributed, they seem really upset and feel like I've abused the money. I've misused the money, or I'm getting fooled, and I'm not trustworthy of them putting money into me because I'm throwing it away. And how I feel about that is the same as I've always felt, which is as with Charles. If it really bothers you that much, that I'm trying to help people who, I know I'm putting myself in danger, okay? I'm not like dumb, okay? I do understand that these people have had a history of really bad stuff, and I had a discussion with them about it, of how they ended up where they are and why it seems to be happening and repeating itself. I tried to teach them. That's what I used to be, was a teacher. And some of you are like, well, some people can't be helped. Well, I had students, that couldn't be helped, really difficult students, like the bully, the class bully. I had to try to integrate him in with the rest of the class, and ended up making him popular by having him serve as security for the class, keeping everybody out of trouble. I know these aren't first graders or sixth graders or whatever, like I was teaching when all this was going on, but essentially I'm trying to teach people, or not everyone, but those people that I'm trying to help right now, that the reason they're having the issues that they're having, a lot of it may have to do with how they treat themselves and how they treat other people and other people's properties, and how they treat people when someone is going out of their way to try to help them, and that they might want to relook at their situation and understand that when someone's trying to help you and you can see it and you've experienced already what it's like with most people who would just kick them out, and some even take advantage of them, that you really don't want to repeat that cycle. You have an opportunity right now with someone who, regardless of their past history, is trying to help them. And I know some people are saying, for trying to help people who are homeless and stuff, you seem to be upset, you seem to be, in a way putting them down or whatever, saying that their dog has fleas and whatever. I'm just kind of stating facts and letting you know my frustration, because you're trying to deal with someone who needs help, and obviously one person can't help them. I'm just trying to set them on a path where hopefully they're going to be in a better position. And some were even worried about them selling the RV and whatnot. The RV has value. I mean, you could probably get $6,500 to $7,500 easily for it, maybe even more, since there's a lot of people homeless right now, and the RV is functional, and it's even got its own solar power system to be off-grid, and everything else pretty much works. Paid the mechanic all that money to fix it. So how would I feel if they got the RV and within a week sold it? I wouldn't be bothered, okay? If they sold it and wanted to use the money for whatever, it's up to them, All I did was try to help them as best as I could, given the circumstances and what resources I had. But it's up to them to take it and do something with it. Now, the reason that video was made was because I was frustrated, I'm sitting there trying to help, and then I don't see them keeping their word and stuff, and that's why they keep getting kicked out and all these bad things. Is that going to stop with me? Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to change people if they're used to a certain thing. And a lot of people that get into that kind of situation where they're homeless, chronically homeless, or being taken advantage of, it's because that's what they're used to. That's their past. That's the environment they come from. I used to teach at a lower income school, and we had to deal with more than just education. We had to deal with trying to teach them, that maybe taking care of rent and other stuff is more important than buying super expensive sneakers or shoes. You have to teach even really basic stuff for people who may not have had money for a long time or have been abused by the system. So that's why I did it. Now, some of you have genuine concern that I'm going to end up homeless from helping these kind of people, and it could happen. I'm aware of that, but I'm also aware that I don't want to go back to being homeless again. But at the same time, I don't want to be somebody that just ignores people who desperately need help and aren't going to get it from other resources. And if there are no other resources for them that are readily available, and for some reason God has made their path cross with mine again, okay, maybe there's a reason I didn't die 10 years ago like I thought I should have. Okay, I still haven't quite determined why I'm still alive, because I thought I was supposed to die 10 years ago, and yet I'm still here. As far as I'm concerned, I'm on borrowed time, and I don't quite know yet what my purpose is. But if I have the opportunity to help people while I'm still alive on this borrowed time, I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to try to put my family into danger, because I know, the dangers. But anytime you live, anytime you interact, anytime you help people, you do run that danger. Just even staying alive. I mean, you could walk across the street and get hit by a car. You don't really know what the future holds. And putting yourself in a dangerous situation increases the odds of danger or something bad happening to you. and I'm fully aware of that. I could lose everything that I've worked so hard to get. But then again, that's what happened the first time. I had a career. I was well known. I was liked. I was, considered a very good educator and, good dad. And it all went down the tubes because of a situation. And it's not that I haven't learned from it, but at the same time, I don't want to make it change me to become somebody that I don't want to become, which is a person who turns a blind eye just because they feel that the world is bad and there's more bad people than good. And, the people I'm helping, like I said, they have all these issues, and it didn't develop like overnight, but I'm going to do what I can to try to help them as long as it doesn't pull me under. When I taught first grade, I used to teach my students that they needed to do the best they could to move themselves forward, to get themselves to where they want to be in their life, and not to just let the system or whatever wash them around and move them around. But while they're swimming towards their goal, attaining whatever they're trying to get, there's dangers in the waters they're swimming in. There are sharks biting everybody left and right. And along the way of their swim, they're actually going to see people that are sinking or getting bitten by sharks screaming for help. They're desperate. They got no other help, and the sharks are biting at them. I mean, it's happening right there live. And in that instant, my student, who's swimming for safety, trying to get somewhere safe and stabilize their situation, has to make a decision. Do you want to help that other person who's drowning, or do you want to keep going on and make sure that you're safe? And my advice to those students had always been, 1, make sure you're safe. 2, if you can help and want to help, you can try. But every time you reach out your hand, understand that they can pull you under. So before you reach out your hand, try to buffer yourself as best as possible and help. And if you don't help, don't feel bad about yourself, because you got to make sure that you look out for yourself first, okay? But if you do reach out, understand that no matter how many precautions you take or whatever you do, there is a chance that you will get pulled down. And even in trying to help them, you might have to let them go. Like if you try to help them and they start pulling you under and you can't do it anymore, you're going to have to let them go. And in my efforts to help people, I've always kept that lesson in mind. So when I try to reach out and help people, I don't necessarily do it knowing that I'm going to be able to save them or actually help them. I'm trying. I'm going to try. And if I'm lucky, I will succeed. If I'm not lucky, I will let them go. I have to, because I don't want to sink. I got my own family and stuff I got to look towards and protect. But at the same time, I can't just ignore people screaming when they're drowning and sharks are biting. I just can't do it. And it puts me at risk, but I think the term would be it's calculated. Now, some people were wondering, like I said about the dog with the fleas and stuff, how I knew or why I would say that. The dog had fur missing on its back, which is indicative of the dog scratching or biting itself, trying to get rid of fleas. And also having lived at Frank's, the RV place, the scrapyard, there were fleas everywhere. The animals all had fleas and stuff, okay? And I know the people told me their dog, that was one of the first things they told me is the dog doesn't have fleas. And I'm looking at the dog and its fur is missing, So, and, I don't want fleas all over my house. I just dealt with it, trying to get rid of the house had to be fumigated a whole bunch of times and wiped down and still has to be sprayed and stuff, because the house I'm in used to have 6 dogs living there. And of course they were full of fleas. And there may be fleas all over the yard. I mean, I still itch when I go out there sometimes. My wife gets bitten, So the last thing I think I need is more fleas, but I'm still dealing with it. I'm taking that into account. And when I mention it, it's not to put people down or anything. It's just stating what the situation is. And I'm human, I don't want to put myself out and make it worse for myself or my wife. My wife trusts me, until she doesn't. I mean, she trusts me right now with my judgment and says, if you vouch for them, then I'll back you up. But, at a certain point, she could say enough, and then, it's an issue, then they got to leave. And some of the viewers were saying, and if that happens, it could get really bad. You have to call the police and all that. Yeah, it could happen, and I'll deal with it if it comes up. And there's a possibility of it happening. It's not like I'm, oblivious to the fact that there are legal issues that could come into play here. But I'm doing the best that I can to try to save somebody getting eaten by sharks while they're sinking really rapidly. Either you just like I say on the Living in a Van channel, when you see somebody in need of help, you can either ignore them, okay, or try to help them. But whatever you do, don't try to make it worse for them. Don't try to make it, don't start bashing their head while they're reaching out trying to grab the sharks. Just swim around them if you don't want to help. But if you want to help, go ahead and help. And for those people who feel that, helping me was a mistake because I have poor judgment or whatever, it's okay. I don't hold any grudges and stuff. Just let me know. I will refund every penny that you ever gave to me. I will. And I will keep my word on that. So contact me if you'd like a refund. I know that when you donated, you thought it would just come to me and that maybe I would put it to good use. My thought was that you donated it to try to help me get out of homelessness and improve my situation. Well, I'm out of homelessness. My situation's improved to the point where I feel that I'm okay enough for now that I can reach out and try to help others. So until next time, everyone, take care. And, don't feel bad if you don't want to help, And if you want to help people, also, I broadcast this stuff to let you know that, even when you help, just like those people who helped me or tried to help me and stuff, they get upset, when the person you're trying to help either doesn't show gratitude or seems to be taking advantage of the situation. And that's normal, and that's why I ran the video, because, I was frustrated, and the Living in a Van channel, as well as this one, has always been honest. So until next time, everyone, take care, stay safe, and remember, whether you choose to help or not help, it's okay. But whatever you do, try not to hurt someone more, because they're already in a bad situation. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.